And welcome back to another episode of Ugly Duckling Brewery. Today we're going to take you on our very first grain to glass build with a double hazy IPA, our DH IPA.
Sure.
So we're going to go through our numbers. We're going to break down our recipe, talk about sparging, mashing, ball, kegging, pour some beer, drink it, and then we'll finish it up with a over-the-top chili to pair it with a double IPA. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brandon. We're going to go ahead and start with our numbers. We're going to break a couple of things down, and then we'll go from there.
All right, y'all. So what we're looking at on this is having an original gravity of 1070 and a final gravity of 1020. I think we nailed the numbers on that one pretty good, and an IBU of 59.8, to get it into that hazy IPA range.
Which, according to Beersmith, we fell pretty much
in the middle. So. Yeah, it was awesome. From
there, our color, we ended up hitting 6.3. With our water levels, we did our pH. We shot for 5.59, which we pretty much hit 5.59. That was just luck, gotta say. And then our ABV finished off at 6.93.
That's a hefty boy.
Yeah. We were trying to go a little lower. We were really looking for 5.7, 5.8-ish, just to try to stick to style. We're still kind of learning. Our efficiency is getting better.
Can't be mad about it. Our efficiency's better. So, we're utilizing that grain.
Start saving on grain, yeah. So from here, we're going to go ahead and go to grain.
All right, so the grain bill that we got on this one, we ended up doing 38 pounds of two-row and 38 pounds of Pilsner, 7 pounds of wheat, 2 pounds of honey, 1 pound of Caraamber, 3 pounds of Flaked Barley, and 3 pounds of Flaked Oats.
Right. And we pretty much milled everything but our flaked.
But the flaked.
We didn't mill our flaked. And if you guys saw the video when we originally brewed it, you'd see all that. And it's somewhere in here you're going to see us. I'm going to show us milling it in a grain build. But it's always impressive when you do a barrel beer, how much grain you got.
So much.
All right. So from there, and I'm just going to break it down really quick with hops. We'll break it down a little bit better after. But we use 16.5 ounces of Citra throughout the whole process. That's from start to finish, from a mash drop all the way into a fermentation, dry hopping. And then we use 7.5 ounces of Galaxy, and then we used an ounce and a half of Mosaic. And then obviously we use some ceramide seeds in our ball kettle, but we'll tell you how much when we get to the ball.
And that was a combination of pellets and whole leaf.
It was, yes. So and I'll break that down. Pretty much everything was pellets except for in the fermentation tank. From there, we went to, we'll let Brandon break down our water, which is, pretty simple.
Yeah, the water was pretty simple on this. We had 32 gallons of water in the mash tun. And we try to come over into the ball kettle with 42 gallons total. Once we transfer everything over, it's normally about 26 gallons of Sparge water that we use over it to get us up to that level of 42 gallons, because between line loss, boil off, and trub loss, it's about where we needed to be, is at 42 gallons.
Right.
So
Beersmith tells us it should be 26 gallons, but with the HLT system and the way we do this, we're not really doing a true, here's our Sparge water and we're trying to nail it perfect in our ball kettle. We basically, and we'll show this on our next brew, but we're draining out of our mash tun into our ball kettle as we're dumping our Sparge on top, which is something we saw from Short Circuit Brewery on YouTube, which was amazing. And we kind of have his same
doing a constant rinse as we're pumping, which our efficiency went up, so something's got to be working.
It did, which kind of freaked me out a little bit. So in that water too, we had a 5.69 pH, which we said already. Yep. All right, so from there, I'll break down the our mash process on this one. So we mashed in at 154 degrees for 60 minutes. Yep. Again, that was with 32 gallons of water. And we actually did 3 ounces of Citra when we were mashing in. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's people that say it's pointless, it doesn't do anything. There's others that say it gives you a little bit more flavor.
It does.
And a tad bit more hoppiness.
Which, bitterness.
To be honest with you, our 60-minute wasn't much. And Brandon's going to talk about that here in a second. But, yeah, it sounds like a lot. But, again, we're talking about a barrel. So I feel like this is the second time we've done this, and I've noticed both times that we put hops in our mash, which is crazy to me. As long as I've been doing.
First time was an oops.
Yeah,
actually.
First time was an oops.
and then we go like, we need to recreate that.
Yeah,
so.
And then did a little bit of research and realized people do it. So
yeah.
So that's what we do there. And then again, like Brandon said earlier, we do Sparge in at 168 degrees. Our target was about 26 gallons. I'll be honest with you, we have it marked on our kettles. When we start bringing over from the mash and we start sparging, obviously the mash is dropping while the sparge is on top. So our level stays at the top. So I can't even tell you how close Beersmith is. But the good thing about that is we can always stop at 42 gallons, which is what we need. We've never been short, and our numbers have always been good. I'm trying to look on the board over there because we actually still have it. It's the last beer we brewed. But our pre-boil...
I can go check. Yeah, I can run and check.
Yeah, well, he's going to go run and check it real quick. We actually hit really good on our pre-boil, which shocked me.
1057.
1057.
Yep, 1057 on the pre-boil.
That's 42 gallons of beer in the ball kettle before we ball off, which we're balling down. I think we ball off to 30. I think we stop at 32 gallons.
32 gallons is what we stop at before it's transferred over.
Before transfer. That way we leave the hops at the bottom of our tank, plus or minus, I should say, our lost in our line from the counterflow into the fermentation tank, which is about probably 10 feet,
we figured it out. It's probably a quarter of a gallon, maybe a little more than a quarter of a gallon, then the rest of the losses with the probe. So
yeah. So we leave all the hop stuff behind. It just isn't worth it. I mean, we have plenty of sparge water in this tank, so on this brew system. So it's not worth us shorting ourselves or struggling to get the liquid or the wort, I should say, out of our hops and then pull the hops into it. Whereas this beer we dry hopped, it wouldn't hurt nothing here. But on beers where we're trying to keep it clean, we don't want to do that. So.
But I mean, we get the water levels where we need to be, and I mean, I guess we can go ahead and roll into that while we're talking about it.
Yep, go for it.
We're doing a 90-minute boil on this system. We've tried 60-minute boils, but we just get better results with 90-minute boils. So we've always done 90-minute boils on it. Our hop drops normally start at that 60-minute mark, though. With this beer in particular, we did 4.5 ounces of Citra. That was at the 60 minutes. And we also did 4.5 ounces of Galaxy at 60 minutes. That was our bittering additions. And then it ran all the way through to flame out before we did our next hop addition. Now, before that, 10 minutes before flame out, we also did the Cervomyces drop, our yeast nutrient. But then at flame out, we went ahead and did 3 ounces of Galaxy and 3 ounces of Citra at flame out to 165 degrees. When we did that, we whirlpooled it basically, and those hop drops are done during whirlpool. Boil went really well on this one.
It did.
I think we did good on this one. I think we got right to the levels we needed to get to.
Right, and just so I don't know if you guys know or not. I mean, we may have new brewers here. We may have experienced brewers. I don't know, but on this beer in particular, it's a hazy IPA, and in this case, a double hazy IPA. So the whole point of us not just killing flame and dumping in our last hops for aroma or flavor and aroma, I'm sorry,
both,
would be because it's a hazy IPA. And, it says that for a hazy IPA, it's best to drop your wort down to 165 degrees before dropping in your hops and then whirlpooling them in for a while. So we backfeed into our counterflow like we're going to push to the fermentation tank. But our pumps allow us to pump it back into the tank. So we actually dropped it down pretty quick because that is something you have to worry about when brewing a beer for all you new homebrewers out there is you always hear people talk about wort chillers or cooling the wort down quickly into the fermentation tank. And that's to stop all flavors from happening. There's bad things that can happen. So the goal is to get your beer down as cool as quick as possible to get ready for fermentation. And it's less likely to get infection that way. So before I bring up the fermentation, we're going to see if Brandon right here can pour us each a beer.
Ooh.
We're going to go ahead
and... put me on the spot with this one?
We're going to go ahead and pour a duck in the pond for each one of us, and we're going to kind of run through what we get out of the beer as we wrap this up. So on fermentation, while he's pouring, at 62 degrees for 16 days. And I had to go 16 days on this beer because, to be honest with you, the dry hops just it halted our fermentation. It put a stop in it on it, and it just it would struggle to recover. Now it did. Our yeast was happy, but it really stopped us. So put in dry hops at day 11 And that was an ounce and a half of Mosaic and 3 ounces of Citra after 12 days. And then on the 11th day of fermentation, I put in an ounce and a half of Mosaic and 3 ounces of Citra to wrap it up.
And that was all holy hops.
That was all holy hops.
A lot of holy hops.
So it was really that 7th day I put in the 3 ounces. That one slowed the fermentation down. It just halted. The yeast didn't know what to do. It had to stop and kind of check itself, and then it started off again. But it fermented for a total of 16 days at 62 degrees, and then I cranked it up to 74 degrees for 2 days, just to let everything kind of clean up after itself, kind of let the yeast finish what it was doing and kind of burn himself out and fall out to the bottom before we cold crashed. And then after we cold crashed it, we drained out our old yeast in our trub. Yep. And then we hit it with CO2 for another, it was really only about a day and a half on this.
Yeah, in the unit tank, I think we were a day and a half, 2 days. Yeah, so in the unit tank, we ended up doing almost like a step CO2 on it. We started in low, we came up high. We ended up finishing out at 2.3, 2.4 CFM on it, which our serving pressure down here, and again, it depends on where you live, is anywhere from 10 to 12 PSI on our serving pressure. Got everything carbonated, racked it over in the kegs.
Yeah,
and let it get happy.
Yeah, sat there for at least 2 weeks because I had left and went on a cruise.
Right, y'all on a cruise while they were sitting there getting happy.
Y'all might have seen that one where we actually did a brew tour with a guy on a cruise.
That was cool.
Which was really cool.
That was cool.
So, anyways, here's the beer. It is still a little hazy. Unfortunately, our kegerators are so cold over here that it
dropping the haze on it.
It knocks the haze out, but it's really not bad. It doesn't affect flavor or anything else. It's just that whole. You want it hazy because that's what it is. But
it's a beautiful color. It's definitely in that IPA color range. Beautiful white frothy head on it. I will say that the head retention is a little lackluster, but the lacing is amazing on it.
Yeah.
So color, I think color's amazing on it. I think we nailed the color. Not quite as hazy as we would have. Liked it. But
we'd have liked it a little bit more hazier. And maybe I can zoom in with the camera here later, but you can see. It's well carbonated. You can see the bubbles are coming up pretty good.
That is my phone. I was going to say, I can put it down. I can show you the carbonation.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. I'll try to zoom in and see if you can't. Everybody knows. It's just, you could tell it's carbonated because it's constantly bubbling here. Like Brandon said, I really do like the color on this beer.
Yeah, came out good.
Our head was a little bigger a while ago. Unfortunately, homebrew keg systems, at least we haven't figured out how to nail it to where you have the perfect pour every time. As you pour over time on our system, the head kind of depletes.
Yeah.
But it's still carbonated.
It's absolutely still carbonated.
So we're going to go ahead and kind of take a little sniff here and smell, and then we're going to do get a little aroma going and get a little mouthfeel and tell you guys what we think.
Definitely an IPA.
Yeah, so you get the hops come and hit you, and as you heard in the recipe, we have a lot of Citra in here, and it's real Citra forward. So you get that on the nose. Galaxy, which is what we put at 60 minutes to actually put us over the top on bitterness. Right. So that's what that was for. The Citra is really it's a high alpha too. I see right here is 12%. Galaxy is 14%. Even the Mosaic on the dry hop.
Yeah, the Mosaic is going to give you that piney grapefruit.
Right.
Yeah, it's well between the Citra and the Galaxy and the Mosaic. That is like the trifecta of hazy hazy IPAs.
Yeah, all high alphas. They're all over 12%. They're either 12 or 14%. So,
but it is definitely citrus forward. Absolutely. Go for mouthfeel.
So for me, you heard earlier we put some honey in there. We put the wheat for head retention. You can see the lace like Brandon was talking about here.
Lacing.
We put the wheat for head retention. Obviously, we have honey in there. And Caraamber to give it the Caraamber is really just for the color. We wanted to darken it up some. There's a lot of hazy IPAs that are lighter. They're almost like a yellow. I don't know if you guys can see it right here on the duck, but if you've seen our logo, it's pretty close to that. Almost like the Fireball.
Yeah.
We wanted more of an orange color just to make it ours. We're ducking the pond, so we're trying to make our water a little dirtier, right? And then the Flaked Barley and Flaked Oats is another thing that kind of gives that mouthfeel. But
mouthfeel and head retention.
I get really, really creamy, really full body, and malty. The malts just come through. What do you get?
It's definitely a full body beer. It's not one of those IPAs that you drink it and forget it. It lingers around on the tongue. There's definitely a lot of malt forward on it. First thing, is the tingle of the carbonation. I think we nailed the carbonation on this one. Like it's got that tingly, It's good.
The tingle even on your tongue activates the hops later. Like as I stop drinking, I can feel it. I feel the galaxy. Where you hit the Citra hits you in the front, the galaxy is starting to hit me in the back and the end.
Absolutely. All right, you want to go in for flavor? See if you can describe this madhouse of a beer.
I'll let you go first. I
am definitely citrus forward. And it's a weird citrus because you get like a lemon, orange, but I get like, I think the best way for me to describe it is like red grapefruit type of citrus, where it's citrusy, but it's bitter citrus, which is where that galaxy's coming in and saying, hey, how you doing? I'm here. You know, which is something that's what we were kind of going for.
Right. Yeah, and I get the same. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were
No, go ahead.
I get the same. I get lemon. I do get that red grapefruit, which is crazy. I hate grapefruit.
Me too.
But I love IPAs. And even the grapefruit, like you said, though, it's at the end. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier.
On the finish.
The bubbles kind of bring it back out on your palate as it sits there, and it kind of reminds you that it's an IPA. Because at first when you drink it, it's really creamy and malty at the front. You don't really get the hops in the face when you drink it. Now when you smell it, you get it with the aroma, but it doesn't hit you that it's an IPA at first.
Right.
And we've had a lot of people come over and drink this since we brewed it. And the first thing the majority of non-craft beer drinkers say is I'm not really one of those bitter drinker people. Right?
IPA, I don't like it really tart, really bitter.
That's not my thing. And, we did the
Hardest Race Chaser.
Which is a Michelob Ultra clone kind of beer. And, they like, I want to drink that. And as they start drinking, and you can see it here.
Oh, got it?
After they start drinking that, we basically break one of these out and we start doing flights for them. And we hit them with like the red ale. Yep. And then we'll give them the Dunkel, which will get them a little darker. And then we'll come back and then we'll slap them with the IPA. And I don't know if we shock their palate or if it's the beer's that good. But at the end of the day, they're like, that's something I would drink in the bar.
And that's the biggest thing that, with this beer, when I'm trying to describe to people what it tastes like, I don't want to scare y'all away from even brewing this beer. It is not so IPA forward that it's like undrinkable. It's not Hop Hammer. No. It's a very easy drinking beer. It's one of my favorite beers we brew. Hands down.
I think this is one of those ones, like people always ask, how hard is it to homebrew? And Brandon actually asked me this before he started brewing with me, because I was brewing a little bit before. And I told him, I was like, it's not so much hard to brew a beer. It's hard to replicate a beer, to do it over and over and over again. And we've had people come over and ask us, what does it take to make a good beer? And I'll be honest with you. Anybody can throw a kit together and brew a beer, and you can nail it, and you won't even know what you did. You'll never make a bad beer. Even if you mess the beer up, if something happens along the way, it's still a drinkable beer, and it could be a great beer. A good beer. I'm sorry, it'll be a good beer. But to make a great beer, Brandon and I have had many discussions sitting right here at this bar and talked about it. And it's like we both said that this was probably our favorite beer that we brewed. And we sat here and we tried to think, like, why? Like, what happened?
What did we do? How did we do it?
What did we do? But at the end of the day, what makes a great beer is it starts off from the very beginning. It's a good recipe. You were a janitor the beer before, and your system is clean. Your fermentation tank is clean, because cleanness is one of the main.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, especially when it comes to brewing.
Then you come to sanitizing. Your yeast started and everything was sanitized properly. From there, it comes into your mash. You nailed your number. You held that 154 the whole mash, and you didn't fluctuate, and you didn't have spikes and everything else. From there, you ball. You had the right ball. You balled off the DMS. You put your hops in correctly. You measured your hops right. You measured your grain right. From there, it's your fermentation. You hit your numbers, and your tank held temperature throughout.
I'm going to tell you, if y'all learn nothing else about brewing beer, if you want to make great beer, you have to have great fermentation.
Yes.
Fermentation will make or break your beer.
Great fermentation will help you make more consistent beer. Because again, you'll get lucky and put a cardboard in your closet, and I've done that. To me, guys, we're rambling here. A great beer happens whenever every step of the way is correct. You just nail it. You just nailed it. And you think you're gonna. No one ever walks up to a brewer and goes, "We're gonna slack on mash today." You know, we're automated here. We technically don't have to worry about it, but you have failures. You know,
You do.
we
We have failures.
controllers go out. You know, you're rewired on the fly.
Breakers failed.
Yeah, the electric brews has been a bit of a monster for us. So
The ASCO valves on the gas side.
yeah, yep.
Yeah. But I tell you what, you know what's good about brewing a great beer? Is pairing said great beer with the food. We got a special treat for y'all on this pairing. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Yep.
I cannot wait. And I'm sure through the magical editing world, y'all will get to see what we're about to pair this beer with. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
Just like Brendan said, you want to go ahead and tell them what we're pairing it with?
We are pairing it with an over-the-top chili that was done on our Traeger pellet grill here at the brewery.
Yep, it'll be good.
Oh, so good.
So we'll see you here in a bit. Y'all gonna catch that here in a second.
All right, y'all.
All right, welcome back, guys. We got the chili cooked. Everybody pick up your bowl. Show them.
Oh, we're doing the...
So we definitely have different styles here. Brandon over there on the end, we got cheese, sour cream. It looks like onions and tomato.
A little bit of corn.
A little bit of corn. John, what you got? You got John Simple.
Fritos and cheese.
Fritos and cheese. A little bit of meat. I got some avocado. I got some cheese, some sour cream, some tomatoes, some Frito pie. So there you go. So as you can see here, we got 3 glasses in front of us. We got the Duck in the Pond, which is a double IPA. Sorry.
And this beer actually got added to this chili.
Correct. So y'all saw earlier, Brandon actually poured a glass of double IPA into the chili. So we're gonna go ahead and pair this, and we're gonna get our thoughts. So y'all ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Oh, I had cornbread at the bottom of mine too. Had you said that?
Nope.
Yeah, big old chunky of cornbread.
Definitely got some flavor in there.
Okay, this is the point. I say, cheers to the cook. This does not suck.
So when you look on the charts of IPA, well, actually the chart of beers, you'll see, like port normally does good with smoked, smoked beers or like a stout. Double IPAs, I guess, pretty much go with anything, right? From what we see.
IPAs really pair with spicy food because the IPA brings the spice out of the food, but on the flip side, also helps cool and cleanse your palate for the next bite.
I do feel the spice goes really well with the hoppiness of the hops. You get
Right.
this. We have a lot of Citra and a lot of Mosaic hops in this beer, which Citra obviously is citrus. The Mosaic it hits the more bitter flavor.
Bitter, yeah. That's
so you're getting like that bitter citrus kind of flavor on top of the spice with the chili. Now again, I have avocado with jalapenos with Frito pie. John's just cheese with Frito pie.
I added no more spice than what's in it.
Yeah. So neither one of these two are here like
different
spice.
levels of
So
Hey,
yeah, I mean, look,
hey,
guys.
camera girl, come here. Come here. Look, wait. I did it anyway. Do like this. Pass under.
No.
There it is.
Double IPA, which is hoppy. Hoppy with chili goes together really well. I would say it's a win. So
Yeah, this recipe, this over top chili, like that might be like in game on chili for us.
hey, let's just say there's different styles here. Obviously, I'm a fork guy. These two are spoons. So I like this to split my decision. These guys like to round it off.
I am shovel method.
Shovel method. So there you go, guys. Look, like, subscribe, hit the little bell button so you get the notifications. Ding ding. We'll catch you later. Johnny, got anything to add?
Never trust a skinny cook.
Never trust a skinny cook. Only a skinny brewer. Later.